Good morning. Matilda is still in Pretoria this week. Things turned out a little bit differently than we've anticipated last week. So hopefully this weekend she's returning home, and then she can be a conversation partner as well, or once again. So hopefully she's coming back this weekend. We're still busy in this series of ours, spirituality in conversation with different disciplines. And for a number of weeks, we focused on spirituality in conversation with art and creativity. And in a sense, it's a little bit frustrating because there is so much to be covered, and so much that you can look into or have a conversation with in the field of art. So you realize you're only scratching the surface. But if we can become interested, if we can become open to a conversation on that side, then it serves its purpose. But we've decided to start focusing on the conversation that spirituality has with science. And here as well, science is a very, very broad field. So what we are talking about when we talk about science, it is physics and chemistry and geology and engineering and astrology. So it's such a wide field, and we'll see what it opens up as we go along with a conversation. That's the beauty of a conversation. It can take turns or make turns and deviate from an expected course. So today it's just an introduction into this conversation. And when we say that we are in conversation with science, in some circles within religion, there's a certain distance or I almost want to go as far as a certain animosity between religion and science. Coming from a background where religious people feel scientists are so self-absorbed and so sure of their formulas and their knowledge and their discoveries that they don't have any space for God. They can describe anything, explain anything through their scientific formulas. So very much human orientated. That's that sense within religious communities for a big part in the history. Being skeptical of what science is bringing to the table because it is ignoring God. And I think there is something to say about that. There has been a certain hubris among scientists where they feel they are in control, they can control the elements of the earth. But things have changed as well, especially during the 20th century. At the end of the 19th century, here in the 1890s, there were scientists, and they were coming from a Newtonian world where Isaac Newton's laws and discoveries, they formed the basis of science and how science was applied. And those scientists said, you know what? We don't think there's anything more to be discovered. We've discovered all. We've basically explained everything that is happening in this world and how it fits together and how it functions and how it operates. What the challenge now is to tweak a little bit and to refine certain things, but the basics, we've got that covered. And then this wonderful coincidence, wonderful happening, that almost exactly at the turn of the century, at the beginning of the 20th century, physicists came to the fore and made the discoveries that changed everything. Physicists like Max Planck and Einstein, Niels Bohr, and all those big names who opened up the world of quantum physics and relativity and space, and it's just a whole new world opening up. And we are discovering how little we know. We've stepped through a door and it's like kids in a candy store. New things announcing itself, new things coming to the fore, amazing things, mysterious things. And the beauty is that in this conversation with scientists now, we discover that there's a certain closeness. It is so interesting. Scientists nowadays are much more comfortable to say, I don't know. We don't know. We don't have an exact explanation as to why things happen as they happen. That they even have a principle, the uncertainty principle. That's very important in physics. And in that sense, there's much more similarities between physics and mystical spirituality, contemplative spirituality, where it's not about certainties and things set in stone, but where we enter into the mystery and where we say, we don't know, but we are at home in not knowing. And we are discovering this huge thought of God that we are gradually getting to know better and that we experience. So much more of a closeness that is happening, and that it is beautiful to see between the sciences and spirituality. But in that sense, it also asked from spirituality to grow and develop, and also discover its own roots again, because contemplative spirituality, mystical spirituality, is quite comfortable in not knowing. And they can relate to what is being discovered within the scientific community. And in that sense, it is good that they can come and join the conversation, or we can come and join the conversation, because it enriches the discoveries of science as well. It becomes this beautiful symphony of voices. So in that sense, science becomes a feeding source, a source for the growth of spirituality and the deepening of spirituality. So it's really exciting times that we are living in. So this basic introduction, just to say, by all means, enter the conversation with science. We don't have to be threatened by what is happening there, even though it is a daunting world in terms of getting to grips with it. It is absolutely fascinating. And just saying, it is wonderful to enter into that conversation. And it is not only necessary, but it is also enriching. So we'll see what opens up in terms of the conversation next week. But for this week, this brief introduction into our next conversation partner. Thank you very much for the feedback, especially after last week's short story. It's always very nice to hear from you and from your experiences. So keep that feedback and the commentary, keep it coming. In the meantime, keep well, and we'll talk again next week. Bye-bye.